Oh my goodness, my volume was set way too high. That was loud. Let's get some night driving going here. All right. Well, folks, welcome to another Lifter LMS Ask Us Anything call. My name is Kurt Von Onen. I am here with Magic, all the magic, Emily Middleton. And we're going to be here for the next hour or so. Just here to answer some questions and maybe fill in some details on Lifter LMS and working within WordPress. Here's how the deal works. If you've got something you want to ask us or cover with us, a lot of folks came through support this last week in our pre-sales channels. I'm assuming with the Black Friday sale that people are getting excited and asking more questions, and we invited people to come to this call. So hopefully those people come. If you do, you want to put your questions into the chat. So whatever channel you're watching this on, could be Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, wherever you're watching this at. Go ahead and put your questions or comments into chat. Also, it's super cool for us if you just say, hey, here I am, and this is where I'm at. Like, it's just fun for us to see where everybody's at. Today, it looks like starting out, we have our normal Canadians with us. So a big shout out to Gary and Dell. Always great to have you. Kate's over there in Toronto. So boom, let's show people what this looks like. Gary from Winnipeg, he's listening from the doctor's office. Hey man, take out the headphones, put us on speaker. That'll make everybody happy. Actually, remember that guy we saw at WordCamp that said he didn't participate in the call, he just listened because he thought it was entertaining? Do you remember that guy? What was that guy's name? He had a unique first name, Emily.
I don't remember, but I do remember this guy.
Yeah, he was hilarious. He was a fun person. All right, so Dell says, good morning from Merritt, British Columbia. Moving to Vancouver Island, which takes me back to my fond memories of watching the show Alone, where every American that watches that show assumes that Vancouver is an abandoned island full of bears and wolves and mountain lions and poisonous snakes and rain, lots of rain. I don't know how anyone could live there, Dell. I actually met someone from Vancouver Island, and I asked them questions about the island, and they were like, what are you talking about? We have a Burger King. So I thought that was hilarious. Kate, welcome from Toronto. Always a pleasure to have you. We've got a new name for me anyway, Hans Joachim Kenman. Well, welcome to the call. Welcome to the call, Hans. And Gary, okay, so yeah, hi, good, yep. Everyone's getting to say hi to everybody. Hi, Hans and Kate. All right, fantastic. So now here comes the ticker, right? Go ahead and put your questions into the chat if you've got anything for us. And I'm going to cover this anyway, even though it is there's a better discount right now if you go direct to LifterLMS.com. We do our Black Friday sale for the entire month of November, but in case you can't make that decision during this month, I want you to have access to the LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift coupon. That's good for 55% off. And so LifterLMS.com /AMA-gift. And so if you want, you could, open that up and bookmark it for yourself and use it in the future if this isn't the month that you can do something and save that extra 5%. There's also a list of experts at Lifter LMS. This has come up a lot lately, so I want to make sure I cover it here in the call. Sometimes you don't want to be a webmaster. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I need an LMS, or I'm a company, or I run the training department at my corporation. So you're not looking to actually be a webmaster. Maybe you need an LMS and you need something that's more affordable than some custom bespoke thing your company's already paying for. So maybe that's what led you to Lifter, but you don't really want to build the thing. You just want to use the thing. If that's the case, go to LifterLMS.com/experts and hire somebody. Or if you are a builder, but you want to do some customization that's a little bit out of your wheelhouse or something like that, again, go to LifterLMS.com/experts and find someone there that can meet your needs and your budget. I know that Emily is there under WP Course Guide. I am there under Mañana No Mas. And there's a couple of other really common great names on there that we interact with quite a bit. It's a pretty good list. And I think that's really it that I was going to cover on those screen share messages. Emily, do you have anything you want to bring up before we get into anything?
No, I guess that covers it.
You guess what?
That covers it.
That covers it. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to sit down and let my desk come down to me here. I just stood up for the last hour and did a podcast with a SaaS expert. And it's always interesting to me to talk to people that are in our space, but in a different part of our space. I'm probably not saying that in a way that people understand me. Like, I'm a WordPress agency, right? And I don't even consider myself a WordPress agency. I do other things. We're a full service agency. We do style guides and graphics and stuff like that. So when you talk to someone who is like a SaaS expert and you see how their business works or how they invest in other companies that are growing, it's just really cool to see kind of their perspective on things. Super brilliant person. I read one of his books. I read the SaaS Playbook. I have it over here somewhere. It was a really good book. But yeah, we're talking to Rob Walling for a bit. He's a pretty ingenious cat. Let's see here. It says, Hans says, which form editor do you prefer? Oh wow, Hans, you're going to come out of the chute and just ask a highly inflammatory question like that. Emily, which is your forms? Which form tool do you like best?
I usually default to Gravity Forms or WS Form for Gravity Forms for people who have like high budgets, and WS Form for people who are getting into it. But that's because WS Form has a free version and Gravity Forms doesn't. Not that WS Form can't do anything, but just that Gravity Forms has so many extensions and a large ecosystem.
Yeah, like Gravity Form has a lot of cool additions or add-ons that you can do. Like, for instance, they have a direct, Square integration. So if you are a brick and mortar business and you're using Square as your POP, you can incorporate that directly into your web forms, which is nice. Whereas, I guess you could customize other things to do that, but it comes out of the box with an add-on ready to do it. So that's a pretty cool deal. It's like, I like Fluent Forms because I use Fluent CRM, and I'm like, well, if I'm already in bed with Fluent CRM, I might as well use their form tool because they integrate, like they're built to work together, right? And I use other Fluent tools as well, so it just fits for me. But to your point, I think Mark Westgard is a really great person. His wife is adorable. We meet at WordCamp, and I didn't even know about WS Form until I met Mark at WordCamp. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll check that out. And it's a formidable tool. It works really well. It's so weird because forms are things that we think are innocuous or inconsequential. But like when I get to a customer's website and they're using like the built-in form tool from Elementor, for example, I'm like, nope, that's got to go. That's not the way we're going to run this website. We're actually going to put a form tool in. We're going to track the entries. We're going to have a notification system in place. We're going to be able to blind copy that to other people if we need to. In the Fluent situation I mentioned, we're going to tie it to the CRM and create an automation app over it, whether it's, put people into a lead magnet or give them access to a free mini course or whatever. But it's being able to have the flexibility to do something with the data rather than just get data, right? And so and I know that, when you mentioned Gravity is much the same in that you can do something with the data rather than just collect the data. And it doesn't hurt much that Matt Medeiros works with Gravity, and I do some stuff with Matt outside of this Lifter stuff. And so it's, if I have a direct question about it, I can go to him like the source. I don't know. We should ask Hans. Which form editor do you prefer, Hans? Because you tossed up the question, so I'm interested. I'm waiting for Hans to go, I created my own form tool, and it's called such and such. It'll be on the repository in 3 months. Oh, let's see what Kate says here. Kate says, I should probably be in office hours later, but I'd like the prices maybe on sending email through LifterLMS via engagements. What do I need? Is there a way to get what's needed at zero cost? Ooh, this is probably worth doing a screen share on. Hans says he uses WP Forms. Not going to lie, I used to use WP Forms a lot because WP Forms used to be bundled with like certain themes and stuff. Like you would download a theme or a theme, and it would say, oh, installing necessary components at this time. Maybe it was like ThemeForest stuff or stuff like that back in the day. And so I ended up with WP Forms, and then I ended up getting with WP Forms Pro, and then I became an affiliate for WP Forms. In fact, I think I still am an affiliate for WP Forms. I don't think I've ever gotten a check, but I think I still have their link. And Precis is an older word for executive summary. Okay, so it's not a typo. I thought it was like prices. I was like, it doesn't cost anything. But a Precis, okay, so it is French. Okay, so a summary. So, okay, let's jump into a screen share, Emily, and let's just do a screen share of how engagements work and how we could set that up to send an email. But I do want to send that with the caveat, Kate. Lifter is great for transactional email, right? So there's a difference between like marketing email and transactional email. Transactional email is like, you earned a certificate. Here's how you reset your password. You joined this course. Like notifications and engagements at that level. It's called transactional email, and it's really, really great for that. Like sometimes you'll hear Emily and myself say something like, LifterLMS isn't a CRM. It's like CRM light. Like you can send some messaging, but it's not like we would actually depend on these tools to be the marketing voice of our website. And so I think that is one way to look at that. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I want to send mass emails through to all of my students at once about, hey, this course starts in a week. That would be something that you would leverage a CRM tool for. That wouldn't be something that you would leverage engagements for. But I think it's worth taking a look at some options that you can do with the email inside engagements. If you're really adverse to having a CRM tool, there are some things you could do with engagements. What do you think, Emily?
Yeah, so if I share my screen here, LifterLMS creates a new engagements item on the menu. Engagements, like you said, Kurt, are triggered events. So when we add a new engagement, we'll usually first need to design an email, but you can have a student welcome email. And compared to a CRM, you'll find that the features and engagements aren't going to be as expansive or as extensive, but you can use them, especially if you're getting started. They work off of triggering events. So if a student creates a new account, if they purchase a certain course, if they complete a certain course, if they complete a lesson or fail a quiz or enter a section, or I have BB Press installed. So it's also giving me some forum options. If a student creates a forum topic, we want to maybe send them an email or something. If someone else creates a topic on their forum, things like that. But these are all action-based. So someone took an action on the website and then an email occurs. And we select send an email as our engagement type. So if a student completes a course, we want to select which course. If they complete that course, send them an email, and then we'll select an email that we design. And if we add a new email template, we can see the options we have to build here. So we have the default WordPress editor to build out an email. We have little merge codes, so we can say hi first name, comma, you completed the course, congrats. Now we want to promote you to check out the next best step. And then we could put in a link to XYZ. And with this framework, obviously we want our messaging to be a little more sticky than this, but we can use this, you completed the saving strategy course, course completion, and then the email defaults to the student email, but you can change that. And so this creates an opportunity to do like welcome sequences, because in addition to sending an email immediately, you can also do an email with a delay. So I could wait like 2 days after you sign up for the course, I'm going to send this email. So if you have a few inbound sequence emails when one is a new customer and you have like a customer onboarding sequence. You could use engagements for that. But the problem is that if you try to go 30 days or 60 days or 260 days out in your engagements, where you're saying, I'm going to send this email when they start the course 260 days later to tell them they have a few months before the course expires or something, if I give them 1 year of access. The problem with that is that you can't stop the emails once they're triggered. So once someone signs up for the course, they're going to get an email in 260 days, whether they get a refund and leave or not, because this trigger has been set up. It's sitting in the background. A CRM offers you more flexibility, like Kurt said, when it comes to how you email people and what the messaging is. You email them, they can change their subscribe status to your company. So if they unsubscribe from your mailing list, they'll no longer get the onboarding sequence emails. They have more options, more flexibility, but this system is really good and it serves a really great purpose for transactional emails, especially when you don't have a CRM and you need a little bit of email support for your LMS.
I also want to just stick it out there. No matter how you're sending messages with your website, there's tools and there's triggers inside WordPress that come with WordPress to send transactional email, right? And so you'll see like WP cron or you'll see WP mail or something like that that's in your site, and that is notoriously ineffective in the WordPress space. So it's not that I want to say, hey, WordPress sucks. That is not the messaging here. That is not the messaging. But if you start getting heavy in your usage of messaging through your website, through a dynamic platform like e-commerce or an LMS or a community tool, then we're really gonna really heavily push you to have, an SMTP tool, an external cron job set up, and preferably a CRM to handle that increased messaging requirement. I know that on one hand, we want to say that WordPress and using Lifter is incredibly simple. Look how easy you can build a course and build a business. Like, that's the messaging that we want to promote. But when we start getting into more complicated use cases or bigger audiences to communicate with, like once you have over 100 paying customers inside your website, you have a real community. You've created a real job to moderate that and maintain that and keep that going. And so when you scale at that level, we're going to highly recommend that you have a professional communication tool and infrastructure set up that creates something that is reliable and sustainable. Hopefully I'm making sense.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. There were a couple of questions about engagements that I could talk about, but yeah, I've promoted. Yesterday, I had a client come to me and was like, yo, we're going to do WooCommerce so that we could do on-demand printing and physical products in addition to our course suite. So I'm thinking LifterLMS and WooCommerce. And we were building this thing from scratch. They already have thousands of customers on another platform, and we're migrating them over. So I was like, actually, if you want to start a website with thousands of people in WooCommerce and Lifter, I might recommend not doing that. I would definitely at least have 2 different websites for your e-commerce, your shop, and for your courses, because the load on your orders and everything, you don't want that to cross over. And if you wanted to switch to Shopify or something, you would have more flexibility to do so if they never actually got integrated. And they ultimately went with Shopify because I was like, I don't know, you're one dude who's managing a massive LMS, an e-commerce store, and you want to do a global marketing campaign. I would recommend maybe we minimize the amount of technical moving parts to your LifterLMS site, keep your e-commerce site simple, and then keep your CRM simple. But I totally get that.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
That's so interesting that you go that way, because everyone's got their own. You could ask 10 developers and they'll give you 10 different answers. Some people want to create like subdomains or subsites for each major thing. So you could have one for community, one for the CRM, one for the e-commerce, and then one for like your marketing site. Others, like let's say you're on a really mid-tier or high-tier hosting platform that has lots of server resources, and you've got support, and you've got you've got a team of people. You're not just some dude working out of his closet. Well, then you might consider combining things into, one space. Because when you separate things into subsites and subdomains, remember, you got to kind of connect all those things so that they communicate too. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I always recommend that people really think of their use case and what they're really trying to do. When I start asking from an agency perspective, when I start asking open-ended questions to my clients, trying to expose what they really want, a lot of them have bought into this notion that there's this passive income idea where they're going to create a course, sell the course, and never have to work again and live on the beach. And that's just not, it's not realistic, right? It's as you grow and as you bring people in, you're going to have to, you're going to have to manage it and moderate it or hire people to do so. So it's kind of interesting. We've got a couple more questions to expand on this engagements idea. So let's jump in. Kate said she was really focused on the transactional email side of things, which is great because, like I said, if you get into like the mass email broadcast marketing campaign stuff, you're going to want to do that through an actual CRM tool. Garrison is here, and Garrison said, can you send an attachment with the email? The engagement emails that we have in LifterLMS, I don't think there's any way to attach an attachment.
I did just give it a try in the background, and my attachment completely did not come through. But I was using a plugin to try to embed a document. What I would recommend for an attachment, sometimes people say, can we put a certificate in an email? And the answer to that's kind of no, but when a student completes a course, you can send them an email, and in that email can be a link to where they can view their certificate. So as a part of the user experience, you could be like, congrats on completing the course, click here to view your certificate, click here to buy the next course, or take the next action.
Well, and you can always load an attachment in as a document into your media bin and then link to that through an email. So it's kind of a mixed question, Garrison. It's like, is it an attachment? No, it's not really an attachment, but could you link somebody to an asset like as if it were an attachment? That sounds like a tricky way to say that, but yeah, you could do that. Kate says, hey, this is great, Emily. So is there no logical branching? No, there's no conditional logic inside the LifterLMS notification and engagements menus. And to Emily's point, once you set those triggers are set. So that's gonna happen, right? Like it's gonna happen. So that's why we strongly recommend, going the CRM route. If you went with like a CRM, and I'm a big Fluent user, right? So in Fluent, there's conditional logic. In Groundhog, there's conditional logic. In Active Campaign that we use through the LifterLMS side of things, there's conditional logic. And so I think in Salesforce, there's conditional logic. So all of those tools have that ability to branch out a funnel and say, did they click the link? Did they not click the link? Did they buy something? Did they not buy something? And you can do that. But there's nothing like that through the LifterLMS engagement system. It's very, very simple. Are there any zero-cost SMTP plugins? Yes, absolutely. There's a ton of them. Gravity just released one 2 months ago. Was it 2 months ago, Emily? Fluent's had one for at least 2 years that I know of, right? So Fluent is no cost. I want to say what was the other one? It was like WP SMTP or something like that. That was no cost. And then Gravity just had one come out that was no cost. And I want to say, no, I'm wrong. I was trying to think of Adam Preisler, but I don't think Adam Preisler has an SMTP tool yet. All right. So Matthew Price says, got the pages back, and voila. Working on building the live site now. All right. That is great news. I am not sure I know where the pages went. I think Matthew, are you referring to like a conversation we had on Facebook? Because this is ringing like it's ringing something in my head, but I'm not seeing it in the chat. So I'm wondering if you and I were talking on Facebook. So Let's see here. We got Hans. The certificate of a course makes sense as attachment. Yeah, as it's not an attachment. It's a link to it, and then when the user clicks that link, they are going to have the option to download it or to share it. And so, they can view it too, right? So they can view it, download it, or share it. The sharing thing is really, really cool. They can enable sharing or they can disable sharing. And enable sharing is kind of like, hey, I just got certified with Hans Kemen to do whatever, right? And then they click that sharing and they put that link on like their LinkedIn or their social channels, and then it promotes them for completing the course, but in a weird way it kind of promotes you too, right? So that's a really cool way to encourage people to share your LMS with people out there. And Hans says, okay, that helps. All right. Garrison says, our use was when someone completes a self-paced course, they currently get a completion certificate. One of our classes, we also want them to send them a PDF, which are free add-ons. Only want them to get this after they've completed the course. So was looking at options. The embed the link to a PDF could work. Any other ideas or recommendations? Garrison, there's a couple of things. What if, keep in mind, it's WordPress, right? You can do things 17 different ways. But what if in the LifterLMS system, you have them complete all of the lessons, take the final test, right? All that there. And then you have an extra, like a bonus round, right? Or bonus material or bonus resources that you put as an extra lesson on the end of the course. And you make it a prerequisite, right? They have to take that test before they get to that bonus content. And they click on that next lesson that says bonus resources, and you have all of their PDFs and free add-ons and stuff linked to that extra lesson. You could do that, or you could send the engagement with links. That totally works too. There's a lot of things you can do. You can do different kinds of like redirects that, like, once they complete the course, maybe you have it redirect to a different page in your website. What do you think, Emily? I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do from a marketing perspective.
I recommend doing all your stuff from a marketing perspective nowadays, and I know Garrison does a lot of work with marketing and visual stuff, so there's an advantage there. I like the idea of having those locked resources. LifterLMS now has protected files in the core plugin, so you can protect some files under your membership. So you can be like, click these links, get these downloads, but they are protected under a certain membership or course. Only wanting to have them after they complete the course, that's fair. I would do that engagement email. And the problem is, right, if someone doesn't get the email, maybe what you could do is put them on the learner dashboard. There are tools like Automator WP and Uncanny Automator that allow you to say, when a student completes a course, trigger this action, enroll them in a mini membership that gives them 3 files. You could do that. And I know your use case. I have some background information. I think we do about what kind of course you're doing. And so I don't think for the subject area you're working in, people are going to be like, yes, let's get the free mini membership and upsell into another course. They're going to want to like get their course completed, get all their verifications, and then be off to the races with their program. But I like Uncanny Automator if you can spare like a $30 project budget, or an engagement emails already included in what you have. I don't know. That's what I would think about.
Yeah, Fluent CRM's like that. There's triggers in Fluent CRM where you could say, when they exit this course, you could enroll them in a follow-up course, or there's things that you can do in the automation menu there. So again, it just depends on what extra tools or third-party features you want to add to your WordPress site.
Indeed. And you can also say that like completing the course is passing the quiz on the last lesson. or something like that. And then you can have a final lesson that has those 3 download links. So, there's options.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's super interesting because, to your point, and this is where I think some people get lost, like completing the course and taking that test. So let's say you have, it's a 10 lesson course. The final test is on lesson 10, but you create lesson 11 with this bonus material we talked about. You can set the engagement that says when the student successfully passes the test, which is lesson 10, that triggers the certificate, right? So they have no requirement to actually open, view, or execute on lesson 11, right? It's just there as an extra bonus for them. So there's different ways that you can do different things. I'm gonna bolt back to follow up with Hans. He had something else that he had asked, and we didn't get back to it right away because we were talking about Kate's Précis. Turns out that's how you say that. I looked it up. Précis. So, is it possible to create a form with one editor and later on change this form with another editor? Yes, it's not a problem at all. But for the person managing the website or trying to manage data over time, it can be a little bit of an obstacle. And so here's why. So for example, if I'm on WP Form and I have WP Form Pro and it's saving all of the replies in the back end of the website, it's saving it in WP Forms, like a little data folder, right? Under entries. If I switch to Fluent Forms and I change out that form on my website, so I take out the WP form and I put in the Fluent form, those responses, if I was saving those responses for any reason, they're still with WP Forms content. They don't migrate into Fluent form. Maybe you could do some data migration if you were that finicky about it, but just know that when you switch form tools, you typically are starting fresh with collecting data. You can save the old data. You can certainly save it. You can deactivate WP Forms and keep it on the site and reactivate it if you needed to see an old entry. But this is a big if. So a lot of people, when they use the forms, like I have forms on my sites, but I rarely use the site as the form data tool. I usually have myself set up for email notifications, and I review my submissions in email when they come through to me. I don't typically look at my form responses in the website. I typically look at them in my email. But it's all in your workflow and how you set things up and what you prefer. But yeah, changing out the form on websites, not a problem at all. I do that a lot. I sound like a commercial. Lately, I sound like a commercial for everybody. I'm not going to mention the name. I have a certain CRM tool that I use that also has a form tool. So when I work with clients and I put the CRM tool in their site, by nature, I will take out whatever form tool they were using and replace it with the matching CRM's form tool. There. Less of a commercial. I figure if I'm not getting paid for these things, I don't need to sound like I'm on late night TV. Let's see. What's that?
Do you mean like the column?
The column?
The pre-sales call?
Yeah. Well, like I don't want to sound like the ShamWow guy. You know? But wait, that's not all. They also have a community tool.
No, but that's like really great. That's like, and opposite of what you might find on other WordPress streams. They don't have a lot of like ShamWow guys like with their eyes popping, Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. Matthew says, okay. So this is okay. I want to get back to Matthew on this comment because he's given some more details here. The pages disappeared and ran the setup again and bang. So yeah, I think this is coming back from a Facebook conversation. And by the way, folks, if you don't know this, we have a Facebook page. You can go in there, you can put comments, questions. We kind of check in there on a daily basis, moderate things, ask questions, all that kind of stuff. And so Adam Silver is hitting me up on a private channel saying, ShamWow! So that's kind of funny. So I love that people watch us from all over the place. But wait, that's not all. You also get a free set of steak knives. Speaking of which, I just ordered an awesome set of knives through Amazon. I'm so happy because, I love to cook so much. And these knives are like razor blades out of the box. I bought a chuck roll at Sam's yesterday and boom, 22 steaks, 2 chuck roasts. And then I'm going to make a roulade. Do you know what a roulade is? I'm sure that, was it Kate? Was it Kate that asked that question? I'm pretty sure Kate knows what a roulade is, and she probably says it correctly. It's a thin piece of beef that you kind of layer up with cheese and spices and a little prosciutto, and then you roll it up, tie it off with a string, sear it, bake it, slice it down, drizzle it with some balsamic vinegar. Amazing! So I'm going to be making that this weekend for the family. So anyway, let's get back on the point. Matthew lost his pages. I don't know what causes pages to get lost. Okay, so was there an update? Was there something? Did someone? I don't know. Periodically, someone does a setup. Like they'll install LifterLMS, but they don't really do the setup. I have this happen with third-party people sometimes. I work with some people that have offshore help, and they say, okay, build this website and have Kurt go over it. And so, because they don't want to pay me to build the website, right? So they pay someone else to build the website, and then they say, okay, Kurt, check it over. And then invariably, when I go into this website, it won't have the checkout page or the course catalog in place because they did an install and they did an activation, but they didn't do the setup wizard, right? And so if you go into LifterLMS in the main menu, in the admin menu, and you go down to status, you're going to see a sub menu that says tools and utilities. So you click into that and it's going to say run the setup wizard. So when you run the setup wizard, it'll say, hey, these are the pages for LifterLMS that are required. Would you like to install these pages now? You click okie dokie, and then boom, just like that, you have all your pages. And it puts the short codes in and all that stuff. So all those pages work. And so that's what Matthew, I believe, is talking about here. It says ran the setup again and bang, put them back in, and now I'm off to the races. And so, yeah, that's a good deal. Now, he says, is there a possibility of putting the site into maintenance mode until it is completely built? Yeah, so you can do that if you want to. You don't need to. You really don't need to. Let's say that you are building by committee. Let's say you've got 5 or 10 stakeholders that are involved in this project of putting it together. You could restrict the whole website by membership. And then, so when you put your 5 or 10 committee members in as members, they could log into the site and see the site. But anyone that doesn't have a login as that membership would get a, this is a restricted site for members only message. So that's one way to go, right? So that's a setting right out of the box with LifterLMS, even in the free core version. You could do maintenance mode. You could do something else that I've done frequently. And that is, let's say clients have a really strong homepage, about us page, and a contact page. Like, let's say they've been pre-selling their courses for the last year, right? But they're still building the courses and stuff out. They leave the home page, the about us page, and the contact us page. They'll leave that up and open to the public and, linked with a menu and all that stuff. And the site's live, but, building the courses and the course pages and the lead magnets and the automations and all that stuff is happening in the back end with nothing that is actually linked to any navigation menus or anything like that. So if someone was like really intuitive or knew what you were doing, like let's say your website was abc.com. If someone knew what you were doing and they wanted to see the dashboard, they would go, abc.com/dashboard, abc.com/courses, abc.com/checkout. But let's be real. Chances are the people that you are marketing this website to aren't people like me and Emily that are going to try and go through your website and see what you're doing. A lot of people are worried about like security or stuff like in that space. but you don't need to be. You can have the marketing side of your website be completely visible, and you can build out the rest of your stuff behind the scenes and nobody knows what's going on. Furthermore, we have a lot of resources on LifterLMS about pre-selling. So let's say that you have the home page, the About Us page, the contact page, even the course page or a course sales page done. You could have all that open, linked, and forward-facing to the public, and you could still lock down the course and say that the course is only available after a certain date, or it's open for enrollment but not accessible for content until after a certain date. And all of those are settings that are in the course restriction menu. So you can do a lot of things here, Matthew. You don't have to turn off your website. You can still use your website and market your website and market your products or your abilities or your services, and not have to make the whole thing front facing.
And I definitely agree with that. If someone's like insatiable enough to come to your website while you're building it, because they're like, I just have to know what you're building, I have to be involved with it somehow, just throw that email on the front page and be like, hey, we're not launched yet, but give us your email and we'll tell you when we are. We'll give you a special discount or something like that.
I could put up a link. I could put up an Amazon link for you. I really, really like them. I ordered so I make a lot of briskets, and I always saw people with these special brisket cutting knives, and we didn't have a special brisket cutting knife. We had it was about as sharp as a blunt axe. I'm trying to slice down brisket, and I cook a lot, and so finally I looked up on Amazon, and it was really pretty handles. I like the handles, and so it was a brisket cutting knife and a more like a regular, like a butcher's kind of knife, not a cleaver, but like a knife. Kind of like a boning knife. So anyway, it came as a set. It was cheap. It was like $32 or something. It was amazing. Took it out. I loved the look. I loved the feel. Everything. And when the next time I made a pastrami, and when I was slicing the pastrami down, it was like coming off like lunch meat. It was awesome. And I liked the knives so much, I went and ordered a whole other set, like 5 or 6, came in a box. It's really nice. All right. So now we got more people coming in with comments. All you got to do is mention food. I have to smoke and cook 130 pork butts for Christmas. The knives will be good to have. Yeah, I think I may have gotten Chris in trouble here. I think people really think there's steak knives coming after this meeting. Is it Ad? I don't know your name. I'm lost. The brand of the knives. I'm gonna have to go look it up. I'll look it up. Kate, I will look it up because I think they're really pretty. I'll put the link in the comments. I might put the link on the screen. Who knows? Now I'm scared because Adam says y'all should check out abc.com/dashboard. Well, I sure hope I didn't put anything really crazy out there. Kate says she does know what a roulade is. And she also asked if that was the brand that I was talking about. Let's see what we got here. Garrison, let's get back to the topics here. I'm sorry, Emily. I'm like ADD today. I don't know. I need some gummies.
You're chilling.
What?
ABC.com is the network ABC.
Yeah. But they have a dashboard?
No, it just says you're lost. And then it has like a picture of like a bunch of characters from franchises standing there.
Okay. All right. I was worried it was going to be like naked people. Yeah, so I didn't want to I was like, uh-oh, what have I done? Garrison says, thank you. Brilliant ideas, 100% why I came today. And poof, you were already talking about the exact subject. Garrison, that is, it's like that movie, The Secret, right? You, what do they say? You manifested it. You manifested it. That's what that was. All right. Where are my steak knives? Do you know what it is? Okay. Here's one. Maybe you could take this one, and I'm going to go look up that link.
Yeah, this LifterLMS is compatible with WP staging. Let's see, WP staging plugin.
He's like, let's see.
Yeah, let's look at this up. I usually recommend doing staging through your web host. If you can't do staging through your web host, you're probably on a challenging web host, a web host that will present other challenges other than the fact that you can't create staging. but I believe it is. I have seen some of my clients install WP staging on their websites. I don't know exactly how WP staging works, but basically with LifterLMS, what you want to avoid, the only situation with staging that you're usually going to have a technical challenge is when recurring payments are turned on and you've duplicated your website. So if you have like tons of recurring orders, your website gets duplicated, and you have two websites that are now charging your customers recurring orders, right? And customers get unhappy when they're double charged. So LifterLMS has a staging mode. If you look up LifterLMS staging documentation, you'll see that. I could show it to you too. On whatever domain you have your staging, you just want to make sure that LifterLMS, I think it's status, and then tools and utilities. Usually this happens automatically, reset automatic payment status. When Lifter detects that you are on a website that doesn't have the URL of the first site it was installed on, maybe it doesn't show up here. Let me find a place where this message shows up. LifterLMS status. Maybe it's not going to let me do it on my LifterLMS demo site. Basically, it gives me a little pop-up, or it should, that says, do you want Lifter to be in staging mode or not? And I guess our developers have locked it down so it won't do it on this server. We have like a demo server I'm showing you, and I guess they locked the e-commerce features out. They don't want people charging transactions on these servers. It's just the demo LifterLMS. But basically, you get a banner at the top of the page and a red button next to orders that says staging. And staging mode LifterLMS. I feel like I gotta show you this. Let's see. Staging sites. Oop. Is there not a video about this? This is not an easy resource to find. But basically, you get this yellow button, that one right there, that says orders staging. That's how LifterLMS is not going to charge you recurring orders on your customer website. To turn that button on, follow the steps I just showed, and that's the only issue you'll have with staging sites. Lifter auto detects it if it's a different domain, but if it's not a different domain, like if you're using a WordPress plugin and it's doing something funky that's not a different domain, you just got to be aware of that. That's it. Long-winded, but it's important to know. I've seen too many customers mess that one thing up with staging. There's only one thing you can really mess up with Lifter staging, and it's that. Also, emailing people accidentally, doubling emails to people. That's a problem too.
Indeed. Who wants to see some knives? Boom. There they are. These things are awesome. They were super, super sharp right out of the box. Where's my, here we go, remove. There we go, I'm back. And I'm back.
I like the Amazon descriptions where it's like BBQ knives for men, women. It's like, what kind of product title is that?
Yeah, it's like, what's the difference between men and women? I'm really, okay. Let's end that question. I didn't say that out loud. But I mean, as far as like using a knife, right? Like, maybe the handle size. Did I ever tell you the funniest story from when I was a Ducati trainer? It was like the first time my Ducati trainer came with me from Italy to America, and we had a full classroom, and we were talking about the new Hyper Motard that they had made. And so Piero from Italy, he is telling a room full of people. So we're in front of a bunch of people, and he says, Court, the throttle is fly-by-wire. And he goes, boom, boom, boom. And he says, the throttle's fly-by-wire, and we have hydraulic clutch. No more cable, hydraulic. He says, for women and for Asians. And I was like, what? And he goes, for small, weak hands. I was like, dude, I don't think you can say that in America. I don't think you can say that. I don't think we should say that. So it was pretty funny. just the experience of life, right? Traveling, meeting weird people.
Yeah.
All right. I'm curious to know 130 pork butts. I don't know if people understand how long that takes. I don't know how big of a smoker you have. I have a smaller smoker. I could put 3 pork butts in at a time. So that, and it would take me 11 or 12 hours to really smoke a pork butt the way that I want it to come out. And so if I was going to do 3 at a time, 12 hours at a crack, come up with 130 pork butts, I think it's fairly obvious to say that I would have had to start smoking these things a month ago. So you're going to have to like send us a picture. Send it. I'm back. Now you're gone. Hey, did we both disappear or just me?
I don't know. I saw you freeze, but then my camera reloaded, so I don't know.
That was weird. It was like my camera reloaded, and then, but I went like this with my hands. I wonder if that was like making it do something. I don't know, because there's all kinds of weird things happening now. Let's see. We've got new comments. Hide the current comment. Ooh, shiny. Yeah, so I like the knives too. And I keep them in the box. They come in a foam cutout, really nice box, like a gift box, and I just keep them in the box. I don't like. I'm thinking about getting one of those giant like magnetic strips, bolting it to the wall, and be like clank, 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 throwing all my knives up like that. But I am building an outdoor like commercial kitchen at my house. So eventually, all of these like the cool knives will go out there. The smoker is going to be built inside this outdoor container kitchen, and we have a prep center and a flat grill, and all that stuff is going to be out there. So, of course, Garrison wants to distract me with real work and not talk about food anymore. If there's time, Garrison says, templates and SkyPilot, are there pre-built templates? Do I copy and modify the default to make a new one? Or this is definitely good screenshot territory for Emily. One of the reasons I actually like full site editing and the SkyPilot theme is because making templates is incredibly easy, I think, compared to, say, you know, an Elementor setup or was it a Beaver builder or something like that. I think the full site editing, when it comes to templates, it's very intuitive.
Yeah, SkyPilot does come with pre-built templates. It's not an expansive library of templates, but with aircraft, you can build some things out pretty quickly. So if I jump back to this other window where I was talking about staging, and I cut that window off, I'm on SkyPilot on this demo site. And for anyone who hasn't seen SkyPilot before, there's Appearance Editor, which looks a little bit different than the customizer that we've grown used to over the years. You have templates, and these are some of the pre-built templates that you'll find. Is my screen not coming up?
It's coming up, but it's a little blurry. It's coming up now.
Interesting. On my StreamYard, I just don't see it.
It's very blurry.
I'm gonna stop it and reshare. I think something happened to StreamYard when those cameras went out. Let's try again. How about now?
Much clearer, much better.
Okay. Yeah, that was strange. But basically, we have this appearance templates area, appearance editor templates, and these are your pre-built templates. When you do a different full site editing theme, like the WordPress 2025 theme, you'll notice that things look a little bit different. This footer with the black bar, call to action, 4 sections, that's the template of SkyPilot. And you can see which templates come in SkyPilot specifically by clicking on that category. But you'll find it's not very expansive. It's not like, oh, do I have multiple options for how my course catalog looks? That's not something that comes out of the box as far as like templates are concerned. But with Aircraft, which is a part of, I think Aircraft's a part of the Universe bundle, is it? I should make sure.
Infinity.
Okay. Yeah, so Aircraft, if you have extension to that through Lifter, that one is a blocks add-on that gives you the option to build pages So if you're looking for a sales page template, we support that basically by going to patterns, aircraft. When you have that plugin installed, you get all these pattern packs. So we could do maybe a hero section. We could do a call to action, probably this big call to action, and then maybe a services option, and then another call to action like this one. And in a few seconds there, I've created a sales page. So we have a video and we can swap out our text. So as far as templating, sales pages have semi-templating because SkyPilot lets you build them so quickly. But for something like a course catalog, you'll have to redesign that template if that's what you're referring to. Yeah. I've designed course catalogs in SkyPilot. I can show you how to do that too. If anyone is like, oh yeah, aircraft comes with the universe. So more people have access to that one. If you wanted to design a custom course catalog, it's not the hardest because WordPress supports like a loop post type now, a query loop. And with your query loop, you can choose like what it looks like. You can design your own. And so what if we want to go with this wild one right here? And then we can change what posts are displayed within my query loop. So I want to see if I can change what's going on here. Where's my option to change I don't want to change the design. I want to change which posts are being queried. This used to be so easy. There we go. Custom. Query type custom. I can change the post type to courses. So now I've used a query loop block to redesign a course catalog. So that's an option.
I had to change the overlay because it was on top of what you were showing.
Overlay. We haven't played with any sound effects on this stream.
Huh.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I saw you doing a Feature Friday with Chris last Tuesday, and you were hitting the sound effects, and I was in my office laughing my fanny off. I thought it was hilarious, and I don't know if Chris was like in the game or not in the game. like I couldn't tell if Chris was in on it or not, and that made it even funnier.
Right.
I was having a blast. Okay, let's go. Matthew's got a question. I think this is how we're going to end the day today. Before we officially end, I just want to let everyone know it still is November. So besides like not shaving for some people, it's also the month that you can get 60% off at LifterLMS by going to LifterLMS.com and enjoying the Black Friday sale. So that's my big pitch for today. Earlier in the episode, I said if November is not your month, it's just not your month to do something in November, there's still a 55% off coupon that's available all the time, right? LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift, AMA-gift. I want to get that out of the way before we take this next question because we're running low on time a little bit. But it says here, just a quick one. What would you normally have the action button on the pages go to?
Oh, yeah, the calls to action. I would recommend having a single call to action per page. One of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people make is they'll have tons of calls to action. The customers will view the page and they'll just go every which way. And the only time I would have multiple calls to action on your homepage is when you're promoting your blog and you have multiple blog posts, or you're promoting your courses and you have multiple courses listed on your homepage that people would select between. But if you can have one call to action, and preferably if that call to action is an opt-in to collect someone's email, that's even better. Because usually when someone comes to your website, they're not going to stick around and you're not going to know who they are. But if you can give them a free resource in exchange for an email, like a free sign-up course or a PDF ebook to get into your content or get into your product category, like in our industry, these are the number 1, 3, 10 things that people struggle with, and we're going to solve them for you here in just 15 minutes if you download this add-on, give us your email. That will catch people for you.
Yeah, and as we round this out, I just want to go out on a limb here, and because I fall for this myself. I don't know if it is the imposter syndrome. I don't know if it's like I'm so afraid of what other people are going to think. Um, I used to post something like once on social media. I used to be like, okay, here's a blog post. I'm going to put it out. Here's a this. I'm going to put it out. And I would think, okay, I did it. I shared it, and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to spam people. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to, and after I got laid off by Suzuki, I put a bunch of posts into like a scheduler, right? And so all of a sudden my LinkedIn started having 5 or 6 posts a day, and Instagram and stuff like that. And I got messages from a couple of people that said, hey, are you on payroll at LinkedIn? Like, did you get a job at LinkedIn? What happened? You're going crazy. And I was like, oh, I'm spamming people. I should probably cut back. Folks, even if you think it's cheesy, like I was just talking to, I have a friend in the Netherlands, and so he's doing some new marketing things, and he's like, well, I'm going to call it this. I know that's a little bit cheesy. He says, but what I'm finding is Americans love cheese. And I'm like, Americans do love cheese, dude. Like don't be scared or too timid to market yourself. Remember that when you put something out, at best 10% of the people that you're connected to see it. And so you want to put things into a scheduler. You want things to post 3-4 times. You want things to go. And so along the lines of like thinking about a marketing mindset, Emily had mentioned, that call to action. So how do people find that call to action? How do they get to the website in the first place to click that link? It's like you want to funnel people to it, and then you want to make sure that it's consistently narrow enough that people take an action in the direction you want them to go. It's a whole psychology about online marketing and being a course creator and selling your stuff. And so Chris did a really good, it's one of the bonuses. Now, look, I feel like hey, ShamWow. It's when you sign up for the Infinity Bundle this year. I don't know if you have to get the lifetime deal or if it's just with the Infinity Bundle. We talk about the bonuses, the Black Friday bonuses. You get the perfect offer playbook thing that Chris had done a full course on this year. It's now evergreen material, and you get free access to that as one of the bonuses. And so it's really, really helpful because a lot of people are smart and they have great ideas for how to make the right course or how to make the right content, but they really don't have a clue or business training or marketing training, all of these hats that you have to wear as an entrepreneur to find success. So we try to give you all those tools, and that's one of the great ways to do that. And now we're in overtime. So Emily, how can people reach you?
You see it on screen, wpcourseguide.com. How about you, Kurt?
I am the Mañana No Mas guy. Tomorrow no more. So you can go to mañananomas.com, or you can look up Kurt Von Ahnen on LinkedIn. I'm the only Kurt Von Ahnen on LinkedIn. So once you find me there, you got me. Just make the connection. With that, I think we are going to close out this stream. And I don't think we're going to see you next week because next week is Thanksgiving. So, but we have some activities coming up directly after Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday and all those things. So pay attention to your emails if you've signed up with us, and you'll find out when Emily and I will be back online next. Okay, folks, have a great day.